Ladies, gentlemen, and destined ones of all ages, one of the most classic abilities in the toolkit of Wukong of myth and legend is his ability to create duplicates of himself using nothing but a single hair to summon each one. In Black Myth Wukong, that is represented by the spell, a Pluck of Many. It summons a load of duplicates of yourself, but while it is one of my favorite spells and an extremely cool one, it does have some clear issues. The monkeys don't last for a whole fight, which is a problem, and the length of the cooldown prevents you from summoning too many monkeys at one time. But what if I told you that not only is there a way around this once you reach a certain point in the game, but also that you can set yourself up in a way that 2 full rounds of monkeys attacking together is enough to kill most bosses in the game without any actual player attacks after spawning the monkeys. Obviously, there are some exceptions, things like a 4-phase boss that you actually have to hit them yourself with the army of monkeys, and this scales ridiculously well because of the Freed Mind Relic in New Game Plus that makes your duplicates copy your strongest attack, so if you have to attack with them, it just becomes significantly better. I'll be first to say as well that this isn't necessarily a setup that I recommend that you use as an average player, and that's because it uses a consumable quite frequently and actively. One that is farmable on repeat, so it's not that bad. It's definitely something possible to invest in for a New Game Plus playthrough, for example, if it's something that interests you, but more than anything, I just wanted to show you all that this is something that is possible, and it's honestly just really freaking cool to see, to just watch a small army of monkeys destroy hard bosses. That said, because it uses a consumable, I should mention that most smaller bosses will still die to just 1 round of monkeys without the consumable in this build, because I am set up to increase their damage as much as possible, but also because monkey duplicate damage scales off of player stats, which means that if you happen to be in like a 4-phase fight, for example, and you just don't have enough mana to repeatedly summon monkeys, your actual weapon hits themselves will still do a load of damage. The one caveat to that is that we also take increased damage due to our choice of armor set, because it boosts the monkeys with minimal danger to ourselves in the standard playstyle, which is just letting the boys take care of things. So for harder fights, you can easily get involved yourself and still do a ton of damage even when the monkeys are away. This is still perfectly solid for level clearing as well, because again, the damage is great, but the boss strat is all in on monkeys the whole way through. So now let's break down all the equipment that we use to boost the monkeys and how to get it, of course, as well as our relic and skill tree choices for the setup too. First things first, though, we should talk about the consumable for this setup, which is the Septenary Heartfire Pill. The recipe to craft this is in a chest in the secret area of Chapter 5. The crafting materials, as you see here, are 2 relatively common plants that aren't hard to find a load of, and 1 drop that is an RNG drop from the little flameling enemies, but these are very common and easy to beat a ton of very quickly on repeat near the Cooling Slope Shrine in Chapter 5. This item is the main bottleneck of this build, as this is the only reasonable way to have 2 instances of a Pluck of Many active at the same time. There are 2 separate sets that give cooldown reduction for spells when performing certain actions. The one that gives CDR for perfect dodges just doesn't reduce it enough for Pluck of Many to do what I wanted with this, and the other set is the full Wukong set that even uses the Jingu Bang staff, and it regens cooldowns when you crit, which means that you have to be hitting the enemy. And that full set with the staff in a proper setup does so much damage even just with staff spin that I could never actually get a reset on the cooldown before the bosses just died, which, while effective, still just isn't what I actually wanted to do, which was 2 separate armies of monkeys at the same time, killing bosses without any player input past that. That's something only this consumable can properly achieve. That said, let's talk about the rest of our setup, starting with the weapons. For this, you generally want the weapon that just gives you the most damage at any given point in time, depending on your progress, as in the combination of the attack stat and the crit stat, and possibly the unique effect if it matters. Your monkeys are, for all intents and purposes, a copy of your loadout when you spawn them. The best staff in the game, as a result of this, for this, is the Dark Iron Staff, of course, which you can craft after completing the secret area of Chapter 5 in New Game Plus specifically. It scales its attack with your defense to give you easily over 200 attack without question, but use whatever staff happens to match your game state progress that is high on attack and crit. For the vessel, you generally want the Weaver's Needle from the secret boss of Chapter 4 for the passive bonus crit chance and crit damage that applies to duplicates as well. Then for your spirit, you want the Gore-Eye Taoist from the optional boss of the same name near the end of Chapter 2. This gives you bonus maximum mana just sort of passively, which does help with how mana hungry this build concept is, obviously, wanting to spawn loads of monkeys, which is the highest mana cost spell, but the active effect puts a staff in the ground that emits a red glow. Any friendly in the red glow gets an attack boost, duplicates included. Then we have the Yaksha Outrage armor set, which you unlock after the final boss of Chapter 5. The 2-set bonus here boosts the actual damage of the varied combo for Pillar Stance, so we are set to Pillar Stance with our duplicates to take advantage of that, and you will see them use the attack in combat. The 4-set bonus of this armor makes you take 30% more damage, but increases the damage output that you have by an incredible amount. Because my main focus, at least personally, is letting the monkeys do all the damage, this isn't a problem because every single brainwave that I have can go to just dodging attacks as necessary, so the damage intake increase isn't a big deal. Then we have the curios for the setup as well, and generally you would just want a smattering of things like the cat eye beads from the Wandering White optional boss in chapter 1, as these give you crit chance, and then also the Beast Buddha Curio, which you can get up to 3 of as well, and these increase crit damage by 9%. So again, just another pile of stats for the monkeys to scale off of. This one is an RNG drop from the dual blade wielding beast monk enemies, the easiest one to farm being beside the Towers of Karma shrine in chapter 3. Then to cap off our equipment itself, we have the full gourd setup, and we may as well use the Jade Guanyin gourd for this, which heals duplicates whenever you drink from your gourd. Duplicates honestly very rarely disappear from sheer health loss, but we have such a massive amount of just these actually fighting with us that it seems hard to ignore this potential synergy. Then for the drink, we have the Long Balm from the main path of chapter 5, which boosts the next attack after drinking, but we only really have this because it has 4 soak slots in it, which is very valuable. Though if you're trying to go for longevity, you might want the Jade Essence drink instead, which gives you mana recovery when you drink. For the soaks inside, then, if you got the full 4 slots, the Mount Lingtai Seedlings increase the duration of duplicates from a Pluck of Many if you drink before summoning, so we do that. Then we have the Tiger Relic for a sort of crit chance increase after drinking, the Death Stinger, which makes the player poison themselves when we drink from the gourd, and then the Double Combed Rooster Blood option, which also clears any applied poison status from the player to then give you a buff, if it works, of more movement speed and crit chance too. So essentially our full soak and drink combo is just giving us a load of crit chance right before we summon the monkeys, so they can copy our stats with that crit chance included. With that covered, then let's go over our relic choices and our skill tree options taken too. Starting off with relics for Craving Eyes, you want the crit damage increase above all else. For Fuming Ears, you want the increase to attack after a perfect dodge, as if that happens to line up right, this can apply to your duplicates too. Lingering Aroma boosts damage after casting a spell, which can apply, and then the others are just personal choice until you get to Freed Mind in the middle. The New Game Plus Secret Ending Relic, which you want Unified Minds on, in case you do decide to attack bosses yourself, to make your entire army of monkeys copy any of your biggest attacks, like light combo finishers, or any heavies that you do. Then moving on to the skill tree itself, in the Strand section, of course, we're going to be taking the entirety of the Pluck of Many tree. This increases the duration, damage, and general functionality of the duplicates, making them also just able to cast some of your spells, including Immobilize, which is great when they do. Then we're going to be filling up Cloud Step, just in case you want to attack yourself as the player, because Cloud Step is very, very good. Otherwise, don't really worry about it. Then we fill out Immobilize as well, as it's just a great support spell to let you use alongside your monkeys to give them a bunch of time to get in bonus hits, and thus bonus damage. For your staff stances, ideally you want the left side of the Smash Dance tree, in case you want to do any sprinting, hit and run shenanigans with charged heavies, but the important choices are the right side down pillar stance to boost and unlock Sweeping and Churning Gale, as your duplicates will actually use these attacks in their combos. You can see them doing it in these clips, and these are all boosted by the armor set that we're using anyways, because it affects specifically these varied combos. Then finally, in the foundation area, we just have the classics, the dodge and stamina affecting upgrades, the left side of martial arts for full light attack combo upgrades too, and then the various survival upgrades that are just useful stat bonuses to gain as well, with the actual damage affecting ones of course being attack itself, crit damage, and then also crit chance. And also it's worth mentioning, of course, extra maximum mana is extremely good for this build because again, we are summoning monkeys multiple times, and a Pluck of Many is the biggest mana cost spell. All that said, let's talk about how to actually play this build, and of course this is relatively simple to execute once you know the pattern to sort of launch it off. Starting by using your spirit skill to stick the staff into the ground, then you drink from your gourd to activate some of our buffs. Then you want to summon your first squad of bonus monkeys. Eat the Septenary Heartfire pill to reset your spell cooldowns, drink from your gourd again to boost the next set of monkeys, and then summon the second army of monkeys too. They will all be together then, and then after that you just want to stick close to them near the boss, as they get a proximity based damage bonus depending on how close the player is to the monkeys. You want to dodge boss attacks, obviously, and then it's just up to you whether or not you want to assist them in killing the boss or not, because you can obviously just sort of watch them get it done without you really. Again, to really drive this home, even outside of the monkeys, this setup has fantastic damage output if you need to just hit stuff yourself. It combos even better with the monkeys when you actually use your attacks with them because of the Unified Minds relic, and even without the consumable, you can still get smaller bosses down in a single round of duplicates without any player input. I just really wanted to see how consistently and how effective you could make as many duplicate monkeys at once as possible. And honestly, I'm just very happy with the results of this and how it's turned out. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.